Hey guys, it's Sam and this is my second part of my October book haul. Some of the books that I ordered in October still aren't in yet, but I have 25 books here. So I should probably just do this now because, yeah. So after this, I'm hoping my hauls are a little smaller for the rest of the year. I'm trying to limit my book buying until after Christmas. I feel like everybody is saying that on BookTube, but it's true. I'm just adding things to my wish list instead of buying them. I need to stop just for a little while. So I'll probably have one more book haul in November from like Book Outlet or something. Like I'm letting myself buy books from Book Outlet or if there's like major sales, but I'm trying to limit it to like finishing out my series that I've already bought, that kind of thing. So yeah, let's just get started. These first set of books I got from Amazon. I placed a pre-order and then a few other books I wanted to get, so let's start with those. The first books that I picked up were Fallen Kingdoms and Rebel Spring by Morgan Rhodes. These are the first two books in a fantasy series by Morgan Rhodes, and I've heard nothing but good things. Lainey from Ginger Reads Lainey, and Kayla from Book of Doodles, and Shannon from Cozy Tea Reads, and everybody in that kind of friend group all talk about these books like all the time, and I just need to read them because those ladies never steer me wrong. And yeah, the third book is coming out in December. It's called Gathering Darkness, and I already have it pre-ordered, so I just need to read these. So if any of you are going to be reading these books in the next couple of months, either in November or December, let me know. I would love to do like a buddy read with somebody, hopefully in November. So yeah, comment down below, let me know if you'd be interested in doing a buddy read because I would love to read these with somebody. I then picked up Shades of Milk and Honey by Mary Robinette Kowal, I think is how you pronounce it. I bought the second two books on Book Outlet a while ago, but I couldn't get this one, and this one had a cover change, so it used to have kind of an ugly cover. I didn't like it personally, and so I wanted to get this cover, but they didn't have this cover in hardback, so I decided to just buy this, so it's matching, but it's not matching. Anyway, I really need to read this first one so I can get into those. This is a historical fiction fantasy. It's kind of set in the Jane Austen period, and it's kind of like almost like a retelling of those stories, but it's not a direct retelling of those stories. It just has Jane Austen elements with fantasy in it, and I am all about that. The main character in this can manipulate glamour, which is like the magic system in these books, and I'm really interested to get into that and see how I feel about it, and it sounds like something I'm really going to enjoy. I then pre-ordered Clariel by Garth Nix. This is the prequel to the Abhorsen series, which I've talked about before. Sabriel, Lyriel, and Abhorsen, and I loved that series in high school. I have since reread Sabriel, and I want to reread the other two, and I just wanted to get this on my shelf as soon as possible. I'm so excited. This book has been anticipated for like the last 10 years. That series came out in the 90s sometime, I think, and I've just been waiting for this. Like, my little childhood heart has been waiting for this book to come out, so I'm so excited about this. But I haven't read it yet because I'm not sure if I should reread Lyriel and Abhorsen before reading this, so if any of you guys are fans of the series and have read this already, let me know if I'm okay with just rereading Sabriel. I read that very recently. If I can just jump into this as a prequel. I'm not sure how many things are kind of alluded to that would be good to have from the last two books, so let me know if any of you guys have read this already, but I'm so excited to just have this. It's so pretty. I'm so excited. I then went to Barnes & Noble for the first time in forever and picked up Unravel by Tahereh Mafi. I've already talked about this in my wrap-up. I'm also going to be doing a full series review on this. I was reading Shatter Me and I didn't have the next two books. I had already bought Ignite Me on Book Outlet, which I'll talk about in a second, and I needed to pick up this so I could go through the series. I obviously did. I obviously loved it. Yeah, I'm very excited to have this in my collection. The next set of books I got from Thrift Books, they were having a sale, Story of My Life. I picked up A Great and Terrible Beauty by Libba Bray. This is the first book in the Gemma Doyle trilogy. It's like a paranormal historical fiction. I hear it's kind of creepy, so I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about this. I did get this edition a little beat up and there is writing inside, so I asked for a refund from Thrift Books and I was sent another book, but that book doesn't have a dust jacket. So if you want to hear some of my ramblings about the horrors of used book shopping online, I will link my video right here that I just recently did talking about this. I probably should have waited because a few of the books in this order kind of fit into that category. But anyway, I'm still really impressed with Thrift Books, customer service and everything. I did get a refund for this book, but I'm gonna have to pick up a better copy because there's writing all inside, and I think the writing has like spoilers in it because they wrote in the margins, and yeah. But I do want to get to the series at some point because I hear everybody loves it. This next book I'm really excited about. I finally got The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch. I have wanted this book for a long time now, but I wanted this edition. I wanted the UK cover and I wanted the bigger trade paperback because I just don't like mass market paperbacks, and that's what usually the US editions are, all mass market paperback, I'm pretty sure. So I'm so excited to have this. I cannot wait to finally pick it up. It is supposed to be kind of like an Ocean's 11 fantasy series, and they're all thieves, and like, hi, I love thieves. Have you been in my channel for a while? Because I love any kind of criminal, really. So I'm so excited to get into this and just blast through this series. I've heard nothing but good things. I know Sam from Novels and Nonsense talks about it a lot. I know Sana from Inkbone's Books talks about it a lot. Like, I'm so excited to finally get to the series. This is gonna happen hopefully really soon. I'm so pumped. I then picked up The Golem and the Jinni by Helene Wecker. I've heard about this for a long time. It's kind of talked about as recommended to people who really enjoyed the Night Circus. It has that kind of like magical atmosphere to it, and as soon as I heard that, I knew I had to pick it up. I don't know a ton about the plot. I know it follows a golem and a Jinni, who are two kind of magical creatures in kind of the modern world. It seems very mysterious and like a darker read, so I am very interested to pick this up. And can we talk about this cover for a second? Like, so pretty. Very much enjoy this cover. I then picked up Avalon by Mindee Arnett. This is the first book in a sci-fi series, and I heard about this on Lainey's channel from Gingery's Lainey. She basically said it was like Fast and the Furious in space. Basically, it's about a group of teenagers who are spaceship thieves, so like it's like Grand Theft Auto for spaceships. Again, my criminal thing, guys. That's why I picked this up. Criminals stealing spaceships. Yeah, so the second book in this series comes out, I believe, early next year, so I wanted to pick this up and read it before that one comes out, so I can pre-order it. Because that's what I do. So, very interested to get into some sci-fi. I've been really feeling sci-fi lately, so this may be picked up sooner rather than later. I then picked up Eona by Allison Goodman. This is the second book in the duology, the Eon duology. I picked up the first one, I think, earlier this month. So as I said, this is part of a duology. It is about a girl who dresses like a boy in order to become a dragon trainer in like a fantasy China setting. So, sounds amazing. I've heard nothing but good things. These books are huge and the covers are gorgeous, and I'm really excited to get into the series. The protagonist sounds like such a badass. I then picked up Defiance by CJ Redwine. I really don't know much about this. I've seen these covers and I feel like they're gorgeous. I know it's a fantasy series and it has to do with like a rebellion, typical, that kind of thing, but I really don't know much about it, and I'm interested to go into this one just blind and see how I feel about it. I then picked up The Sky is Everywhere by Jandy Nelson. Everyone is talking about her newest book. I believe it's called I'll Give You the Sun. And I haven't read this one yet, so I really wanted to get into this. I hear that she does wonderful standalone contemporaries and that it really brings you to tears. So I'm interested to see how I feel about this, and it's really short. So when I need a bit of a break from my fantasy that I always am picking up, I will definitely give this a go. I then picked up The Goddess Inheritance by Aimee Carter. This is the third book in the Goddess Test trilogy. I read the first book in August or September, I think, and I've been trying to get these next books so I can continue on with the series. And for those of you that follow me on Twitter, you saw that they sent me an ARC copy, and I am really irritated about it, so I've already contacted Thrift Books again. Like I said, their customer service is excellent, and they're sending me a new version of this because the spines don't even match on my shelf, and it says like ARC and not for sale, and the whole shebang. But soon I will finish the series. I just want to marathon through these. The series is about our main character whose mother is dying, and so her last dying wish is to go back to her hometown. Once they get there, a lot of weird things start happening, and a bunch of things with the Greek gods start popping up, and basically our main character has to take a test in order to become the goddess of the underworld. So Persephone, basically. And for those of you that don't know, I love me some Hades and Persephone. They're like one of my all-time OTPs, mythology OTPs, guys. So I need to finish this series. I loved the first one. I just want to marathon through the rest of them, and as soon as I get the final finished copy of this, I'm going to be marathoning through them as soon as possible. I then picked up The Magician's Guild by Trudi Canavan, I believe is how you say it. This is the first book in the Black Magicians trilogy, and I've heard nothing but good things about this from the people I trust on science fiction and fantasy. So again, Sana from Inkbone's Books, I know a ton of other people have mentioned it, but she's the one I remember seeing the review on that I heard about this originally from. I don't know how to say what this is. Basically, the magicians in this world run this world. They're kind of the elite class and look down at everybody else, and at the beginning of this book, there is this mob kind of forming around these magicians, but these magicians have put up a magical barrier that nobody can penetrate. So our main character picks up a rock and throws it at them in anger because she hates them, obviously, and the rock goes through the barrier, and everything escalates from there. Obviously, she has magical powers and that kind of thing. So I've heard this is a beautiful, wonderful adult fantasy series, and I'm very interested to pick this up as soon as possible. These next set of books I got from Book Outlet because, as you know, Book Outlet is my weakness. The first book that I picked up was Ignite Me by Tahereh Mafi. As I mentioned, I already read this. I'm going to do a review. I've talked about it in my wrap-up. I loved it, so I am so glad to have this on my shelf. I then picked up Deathsworn by Leah Cyprus. This is a YA fantasy series about a girl who is a sorceress and she is losing her magic apparently, so she is sent away, exiled, to teach magic to these groups of assassins. So, again, buzzword of mine, assassins, YA fantasy assassins, I picked it up. That's all I needed to know. So this is the first book in a trilogy, I believe, and I think the next one is either out or is coming out very soon. I then picked up Cruel Beauty by Rosamund Hodge. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. If you watched my first October book haul, I picked up another Beauty and the Beast retelling, so I'm kind of in a kick with that, and I really want some Beauty and the Beast retellings in my life. I have heard mixed things about this, but I just had to pick it up, and we'll see how I feel about it. But these covers are gorgeous. The second book in this companion series, I believe, is coming out in the summer of 2015, so I'm interested to see how I feel about this, and even if I don't like it, this cover's gorgeous. So it's a win either way. I then picked up The Burning Sky by Sherry Thomas. This is the first book in the Elemental trilogy, and is about our main character who is an elemental mage and one of the most powerful elemental mages of her time. There's a prophecy where she is supposed to defeat another tyrannical mage in the kingdom and all of that kind of thing. You know, she's the chosen one. So I heard elemental mage and I thought that sounded amazing. Out soon, so I have... There's a gnat. The second book is either already out or is coming out soon. I have heard good things about this series, so I'm interested to get into it, and elemental mages sound amazing. I then picked up Asunder by Jodi Meadows. This is the second book in the Incarnate trilogy. I've heard mixed things about this, but this is a series about a girl where in her world everyone is an old soul, everyone is reincarnated, so nobody is new, but she is born and she is a new soul, and it's basically like a bad omen that a new soul is born, and basically like she was born so she must have kind of killed the other soul that should have been born in her place, that kind of thing. So I've heard mixed things about this series, but I'm still interested to read it. It sounds like a really interesting concept, and again, the covers are beautiful, and these books are always on book outlets, so if they at all interest you, they're always on there for fairly cheap if you just keep your eye on it. So I want to just complete the series, pick it all up, and then marathon through them, and if I like it, I like it. If I don't, again, it's a pretty cover, and I like that. I then picked up Star-Crossed and Goddess by Josephine Angelini. These are the first and the third book in the Star-Crossed trilogy. I already picked up the second book, which is Dreamless. This series is a retelling of the Helen of Troy myth, and there's a lot of other myths kind of mixed into it, and I've heard really good things about it. I love Greek mythology, as I've already kind of mentioned within this haul, and this sounded like a really cool concept, and these covers, again, are really gorgeous. Again, I'm having like a cover lust haul, you know? Like, these covers are so pretty. So I wanted to get into these and see how I feel about them. I then picked up Into the Still Blue by Veronica Rossi. This is the third book in the Under the Never Sky series. I've already read Under the Never Sky, and I really, really loved it, and I wanted to pick up the next two books in the series and be able to marathon through them. So I want to finish this series before the end of the year so I can kind of have that one off my plate. But I've heard really amazing things about it, and I'm very excited to get back to this world. It is kind of a mix between a dystopia, a sci-fi, and a fantasy. It's about a girl who lives within the dystopian society. It's very kind of sci-fi, very kind of scientific and everything. And she ends up outside in the kind of fantasy world. Basically, everyone lives underground in her world because the outside world, it has this like, these lightning storms are happening all the time and it's very unpredictable. So she ends up in the outside world and yeah, chaos kind of ensues from there, but I'm very interested to get back to this. This is a very original, very cool concept, and I really, really love the world and the characters in these books. I then picked up Everneath by Brody Ashton. This is the first book in the Everneath trilogy, and again, on my kind of Greek mythology kick, this is another Persephone Hades retelling, and I had to have it. And again, look at those covers. They're really, really gorgeous. And these are on Book Outlet a lot too, so if these guys interest you, I would definitely check that out. And yes, more Hades Persephone goodness for me. I then picked up Across a Star-Swept Sea by Diana Peterfriend. This is the second book in her companion series that is set in the same world as For Darkness Shows the Stars, which I already have a copy of. I haven't started yet. I wanted to get this one so I could just marathon through them. But this is a retelling of The Scarlet Pimpernel. The first book is a retelling of Jane Austen's Persuasion. So I love me some retellings, and it's set in like a sci-fi kind of universe. And it sounds really, really good, and I've heard nothing but good things about it. So I'm very excited to finally get into this series. It has been on my wish list / TBR for years now, and I'm so excited to finally pick these books up. And the last book that I picked up was The Swan Gondola by Timothy Schaefert. I heard about this again on Sana of Inkbone's Books channel. This whole video is just a love fest to Sana, basically. But she was talking about this in one of her favorite covers videos, and again, yes, this cover is gorgeous. Can we just stare at it for a second? So once I saw this cover, I knew I had to check out the synopsis and see if I could justify picking it up. And this book is set around the Omaha World's Fair in 1898, and it's supposed to be like a historical fiction romance set around that time, but it also has this feeling, when I was reading the synopsis, it has a similar feeling to how I felt about the Night Circus. Again, if anything reminds me of the Night Circus, I'm probably going to pick it up. So that's the reason that I picked this up. This is an adult novel, and it sounds really wonderful, and I'm very interested to get into it. It sounds very intriguing to me. So it is fall and winter, which is when I read my historical fiction, so I will probably be picking this up sooner rather than later. Alright guys, congratulations on getting through this haul. That is it for my haul this month. Comment down below and let me know if you have read any of these books, if there are some books that you wish I would read sooner rather than later, if you want to do the buddy read with me with Fallen Kingdoms and Rebel Spring, any of that, comment down below and let me know. So thank you all for watching guys, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye! Do a thumbnail. I don't think I can do it. I don't know. This isn't safe. This isn't safe. It's not. It's not safe. I do not recommend doing this. PSA to any booktubers, don't do this. This is dumb. Just don't. Just don't. It's not necessary.